Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. All eyes, Paul, now on that famous hill in North London, Maswell Hill, Alexandra Palace, the World Championships. Excited?
Yeah, you can say that again. I mean, we were all there last year. It didn't feel the same. No fans. It was a bit soulless. It was still a great tournament though. But I can't help but think how great it would be remembered if the fans were there. Because we had, what was it, 16 games went to the last leg decider.
That was ridiculous.
I don't think we'll ever see that again. I think that was a one-off in history. I'd like it to happen again, don't get me wrong, but I do think last year's tournament would have been more memorable if the fans were there to see it. But this year, with them coming back, I think there'll be a lot of players who are really looking forward to it and maybe looking for some redemption, including the champion.
I was going to say, you've won a major title in front of a lot of fans. Could you imagine what that feeling would have been like for Gezi, winning the biggest prize in our sport with no one there to see it?
I think it's a bit odd the way that things were last year. I applaud the way that the stage crew and the PDC put the central walk on. It made it have its own grandeur when it was an empty room. I think that was very clever. And to see Gerwin go for that walk, then hit the double, then go for another walk to get the trophy, I think that had something about it. It did provide us with one of the best pictures of the year, which Lawrence Lustig took, and aiming up towards the champion with that light on it. I think that's a remarkable image. But one thing we know about Gezi is that when something isn't ideal in a win, he has this ability to go back and almost redeem what he wanted before. Look at the first Grand Slam win. It wasn't an ideal situation, but he still won. But then he won the following year and made some history by defending the title with the fans almost on his side at the end. He will want to defend it badly, but I think this year is all about discovering who's going to make it. Because we are in a time right now where there are some uncertainties and COVID is not behind us, but there are things that really do excite me about it, and even if it was just another year, I'd still be excited. I love Ali Pali.
Is Gezi the favourite, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think he's got close challenges in Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen, without a shadow of a doubt. And there are going to be some other hitters who can go on runs, but now that Gezi has reached the top of the tree, he's going to have that experience of doing it in that room, and I think that's important for him. And do I think he's going to win the title? I'm still thinking about that, but if someone was to give me an elbow and say, you've got to stick your name on the trophy now, I'd have to say there's no reason why he can't win it.
Interesting year for Michael van Gerwen, but over recent months we've started to see the real Michael back. I know you commentate on a lot of the Pro Tour stuff. Those big averages are back, the swagger's back, the glint's back. He's going to be a danger.
Unquestionably. I think careers are not this upward curve and constantly going in the same direction. There are going to be fluctuations. And it's been a fluctuating year. It's been something where he's been tested severely mentally and from an equipment perspective, because he has gone to the depths of the well of knowledge when it comes to getting the most out of his kit. And I have to applaud Lee Huxtable at Winmore for doing what he's done, because he's done a craftsman's incredible job working with Michael, who is probably as particular as anybody has ever been with a barrel.
So Lee's toughest job ever?
Yeah. Even more than, say, Mervyn, or working with some other champions from other tournaments, or even other world champions. Absolutely his biggest challenge. But now that Michael has got the comfort with these 21.5 gram darts, we can now put that to the side, and he will be tested in other facets now. I think going forward, if he can win the world title by the end of the 2022 championship, then everything that's happened in 2021 will be forgotten.
Does set play kind of suit him right now? Because in leg play, he's still getting punished for those off legs. He might have 3-4 maximum in a session, and he's chasing. But in the World Championship, that's only a set, or maybe even half a set, depending on where those off patches happen. Will this suit him?
I think he likes set play full stop. He never liked it at Lakeside because he didn't win a set there. But if you look at his record at Alexandra Palace and his record at the Grand Prix as well, which is also set play, it's very strong. So that's good. But it does depend who he plays and what is going to be in his quarter of the draw. Of course he's going to be the favourite for the quarter of his draw, being the number 3 seed. But if he is going to have a bit of a game off, it's going to have to be short bursts. He can afford to let one set go here and there, but if he goes to sleep for maybe 10 minutes, he could find himself in a situation that he was with Renee Idams a few years ago.
Another huge story, Fallon Sherrock, in brackets, returns to the scene of the crime. How exciting after what we've seen this year from her is that Fallon's going back and arguably a much better player than what she was 2 years ago.
She is a better player than 2 years ago. That she's been tested a ridiculous amount. COVID-19 has robbed her of all of her momentum. She's got it all back. Now, what does that say about her?
Strong.
It's the first time that Lisa and Fallon are going together. I think that's a big thing, because the last time she was there, it was Mikuru Suzuki that was the other lady. So they can, not together because it's a singles tournament, but they can be the barrage for the ladies' game going forward. And we do have the best two ladies in the world going into this tournament. I don't think anybody wants to draw her in her current form. I don't think there should be too much talk about the Premier League. I think we should focus solely on the World Championship, and with her getting to the quarterfinals and competing in that quarterfinal with one of the best players of this generation, what's possible? If she can average 99 over 29 legs, what could she do in a quarterfinal of a World Championship? There are more possibilities now with Fallon than ever, and she is not solely, because Lisa has obviously done an amazing amount over the last couple of years as well, but what they are doing is proving to the world something that we have already known for many years, that there's no reason why a female player can't be as good as a man.
Absolutely agree with you. I know we're not going to go into it too much, but one subject on the P word, would you put her in?
Right now, no, I wouldn't. I think there are other things that need to be done first. I want to see a woman in the Premier League. I'd like to see the Premier League maybe rehashed a little bit. I think the structure of it is under review, and we want to see how it can be jazzed up for the return of the fans to a normal Premier League, because we've had two now without fans. Yeah. And there's something else that I'm excited about. But I think for her to grace a Premier League, I think it's only fair that she has a card. I think if she was only playing Premier League and then she was going to Challenge Tour, that would be a bit odd. And if she was playing some, say, WDF events as well, I mean, imagine going from playing in Dublin to playing in Selsey.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
No,
so if you're going from Barnsley to, say, Nottingham or something like that, where she has played before, then that's a bit more feasible to me. But she's got a card. Yes, I would say it's a possibility, but I think there are other players in front of her currently for a spot.
On the card, an interesting scenario has developed because of her performances. She's 2-3 wins away. We don't quite know the sums, but 2 may be enough, 3 almost certainty from winning that card outright without having to go to Q-School. That would be a huge statement for anyone, not just Fallon, to win that card, starting with nothing on the order of merit and getting into the 64 by the end of the year.
Look at the people who've done that. Christopher Ratajski.
Joe Monan?
I think he did.
Yeah.
But you think about what Ratajski did. He constantly qualified for European Tour events.
Yeah.
He went on to win events without a card, and he bulldozed his way into the top 64. We're talking about special talents doing that.
Yeah.
If she's able to do it, then fair play. But it's some ask. I mean, the emphasis on that quarterfinal with Peter to double her money, it was so big. And you know, I'm willing her on to win the game against a very close friend of mine in Peter, but at the same time, you know, this is the thing about these big events. You do all the work to get to that stage, and then all of a sudden you can double it in one game. And she had the chance to double it. She just comes up short, not for the lack of trying, but ultimately, I think it does depend on a draw.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be kind. She's got to get somebody beatable who's not in good form. But if she gets, say, a Peter Wright again, or somebody of that sort of ilk, she might find herself in trouble, and it might just be one game too far.
Can't let you go without talking about yourself, because you're an avid social media follower, and the question always comes up: are you returning to Q-School this year?
No. I have decided in the last few days that I am going to be working at the WDF World Championship. I'm going to work for the final 4 days of that. I'm going to take a couple of days off between Ali Pali and the Lakeside, and I've done enough practice over the last couple of weeks when I've had some time off to establish where I'm at. I've done a lot of tweaking with kit, stem size, flight size. My barrels are great, I've got my points right, but I'm starting to see improvement in my game, but I am not going to be ready for Q-School. I'm not going to go to Q-School and get flogged.
That's fine.
Mentally, that's not the right thing to do for me. So the right thing is to go to the Live League in 2022 and rebuild my game the way that Colin Osborne has. I've looked at him this year, I've looked at other players as well, and the exposure to constant game pressure is what I need, and that's what 2022 is going to be about.
So good and bad news for Assets fans. One, we won't see you at Q-School, but two, we're going to see you in an active playing role in the Live League instead of just in the comms booth.
That's if I'm given a spot. I'll have to speak to the organisers. I mean, it's no guarantee, of course, but we'll say there's a 1% chance I'm going to Q-School. I might change my mind. There is a little bit of time between this event and working the next one where I can put some more practice in. If something clicks and I feel that it's the right thing to do, the very earliest I would go to Q-School is the Monday, because I'm working the Lakeside on the Sunday, and it depends on the the whole scheme of the first round and second round, like last year. So we'll see, but I'm pretty much set on the fact I'm not going to go, and make sure that I can rebuild in 2022 and be ready for it, because I don't feel I am.
Last one, the calendar's been released. It's almost a full calendar up until the end of October, I think the PDC have announced. I want to get your thought on the Euro Tour coming back and the effect this is now going to have on the rankings, because 2 years without a proper Euro Tour is a big hit for players. If you're a player now, you can make some real gains in these rankings because the Euro Tour returns.
Yeah, hugely. I mean, the Euro Tour has been missed. We had, what was it, 3 in 2020?
2 this year.
Yeah, 2 this year. It is a big miss. We love going to places like Germany, to Denmark, and to, it seems like a long time ago since we went to the Czech Republic, or Czechia as it's known now. I can't remember the last time I was in the Netherlands. So it would be great to go back from a personal level, but for all these players to have the opportunity to have that huge hit of ranking money, it does make a big difference. And we know that the likes of MBG and Wright and particularly Getterman Price, who was undefeated in European Tour action this year, they want to go and cash those £25,000 checks and play on the big stage and get more exposure to that and be in front of these big audiences. I mean, Budapest this year was unbelievable.
Unreal.
I really want to go back there because it's such an amazing arena at the Pap Laszlo. I hope we can. But from a playing perspective, it's a good thing. But you have to say at this point that the calendar for 2022 does have an asterisk next to it.
Of course,
because we don't know what's going to happen with the new variant, and we have to remain flexible. There's one thing darts has done since the start of COVID. We have remained flexible. We've been pioneering with the home tour and things like that. And if we can remain flexible, then there's no challenge we can't get over.
Paul, absolute pleasure, and I will see you for 16 days in the Big Brother house very, very soon.